Hello, I'm Nidhi Kumar and welcome to the show. Today we make an honest endeavor to develop the scientific temper of our society. With this in mind, our focus for today's conversation will be biomedical waste. We bring to you a report.
COVID-19 pandemic has reached the community transmission stage in many countries, thus intensifying its impact upon the world's healthcare systems and economy. In this crisis, ensuring reliable and safe municipal solid waste management is a must for all local governments to protect public health and contain the spread of the virus. Biomedical waste or hospital waste is any kind of scrap containing infectious or potentially infectious materials. It may also include waste that visually appears to be of medical or laboratory generated. This includes research laboratory waste containing biomolecules or organisms that are mainly restricted to be released in the environment. Discarded sharps are biomedical waste, whether contaminated or not. There is a possibility of sharps to be contaminated with blood and their propensity to cause injury when not properly contained and disposed of. Biomedical waste may be solid or liquid. Examples of infectious waste include discarded blood samples, sharps, unwanted microbiological cultures and stocks, identifiable body parts including those that are a result of amputation, other human or animal tissues, used bandages and dressings, discarded gloves, other medical supplies that may have been in contact with blood and body fluids, and laboratory waste that exhibits these characteristics. Waste sharps include potentially contaminated used needles, scalpels, lancets, and other devices capable of penetrating the skin. Biomedical waste is generated from biological and medical sources and activities such as the diagnosis, prevention, or treatment of diseases. Common generators or producers of biomedical waste include hospitals, health clinics, nursing homes, emergency medical services, medical research laboratories, offices of physicians, dentists, veterinarians, home health care, and morgues or funeral homes. In healthcare facilities, waste with these characteristics may alternatively be called medical or clinical waste.
Today I'm pleased to introduce in our studio two eminent panelists. Our first panelist is Ms. Yutika Puri. She is the senior scientist at the Central Pollution Control Board, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. She did her BTech in Environmental Engineering from the Delhi College of Engineering, working in CPCB since 2010, and currently she's holding the designation of Scientist D, dealing with biomedical waste management and batteries waste management across the country. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Our second panelist today is Dr. Sukriti Chauhan. We're indeed honored to have you here with us. Dr. Sukriti Chauhan is an INLAC scholar with a master's in international development law and human rights from the Warwick University, UK. She has close to a decade of advocacy and communications expertise in public health and human rights. Welcome to the program, Sukriti.
Pleasure
We're
to
honored.
be here.
So my first question is to you, Yutika. What do you mean by biomedical waste? How would you like to define that?
So biomedical waste, with its name, we could make a guess. It is a waste which generates from the hospitals, from the small clinic, from any other healthcare facility, like we have veterinary clinics, we have animal houses, we have laboratories around us. So it is a kind of waste which generates during the treatment of any person, during his diagnosis, during any kind of immunization. So if a nurse is giving injection to a patient, so that syringe becomes biomedical waste. That used syringe is biomedical waste. The cotton swab is biomedical waste. During any surgery, if we get any body parts which is discarded and which is infected, so we have to discard that particular body part, that it becomes biomedical waste. We have discarded medicines. We have entire categorization as per the legal framework we have. This framework is called as biomedical waste management, and let me tell you a very interesting thing, that this particular waste is being regulated by the Government of India since 1998, and over the period of time, I must say the management of its this waste gets improved with the time. And in the year 2016, we had a re-notification of the biomedical waste management rules by Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, which usually talks about, which, you know, I must say give a more clarity on the steps to be followed for its better management, for its scientific disposal, how to be this waste, how to be stored by the hospitals. Even this waste covers the domestic biomedical waste. In our houses, we have diabetic patients to whom we have to give insulin injections. So we have biomedical waste with us at our home also. So this legal framework cover all that, all those areas, and tell us how to discard those waste from the households. So this is all about the biomedical waste, and I must congratulate the government because this area of waste, I mean, we have other kind of waste also: e-waste, battery waste, hazardous waste. Plastic waste is very is common nowadays.
Correct.
But this biomedical waste particularly, we have seen as a regulatory body, we have seen quite impressive improvement. People are now know about the,
and they're more conscious about
yes,
it.
yes, especially during this current pandemic,
Correct.
COVID pandemic. Now general public, you know, they also
Is
have
getting aware.
Yes, they are aware,
which is
about
why it's
this.
even more important to have this kind of a dialogue and impress upon them the
Yeah.
need for waste management. My next question to you, Sukriti.
Sure.
Why is safe and effective management of waste really important in your own terms?
So I'd like to start with a quote from Maya Angelou, who's a very well-known American poet, a human rights activist, and one of her very famous quotes is that everything that costs is going to cost the earth ultimately. In my mind, there is no better way to connect human well-being to waste. And to your question of why it's important is because health is a human right. It is extremely important for us to be healthy in a healthy environment. And I think the issue of waste management, and especially biomedical waste, becomes critical here because we are a country of 1.2 billion and growing. Our needs are growing medically. We now have hospitals which are in place. It becomes absolutely essential that we deal with the waste in a proper manner, whether that be the person collecting the waste or whether that be, you know, how we incinerate the waste and what are we releasing into the air, what are the pollutants that we are putting into our septic drains, all the antibiotics that we are throwing away. So I think there are some essential issues that we need to answer, but linking it back, I do not think we can be healthy without waste management.
Absolutely. You have very rightly put it that we have only one planet. We do not have a planet B that we can
Yes.
turn to, and we must, it is of course a legal and social responsibility for
Exactly.
all of us to take care of this planet. On that note, my next question to you, Yutika, since you're in that regulatory body that monitors waste, tell us who is responsible and what are the guidelines that need to be strictly adhered to and followed to handle this high risk waste, because even hospitals as we speak are everybody's covering themselves with PPE
Yes.
and stuff like that, so there is a
Yes.
lot more waste happening as we
Yes.
talk. How do you look at that?
So all the generators and all the I must say regulators also, we are all responsible for its management. Generators and the people who are involved in its disposal, they are very important stakeholder, I must say, for the biomedical waste. Generators, we have hospitals, we have biomedical waste from them, and this waste goes for their final treatment disposal to the treatment facilities. So I will not say only the hospitals are solely responsible for its management. Treatment facilities, we have common treatment plants where this entire waste goes for their disposal. So they are equally important for its management. And the segregation is something which is a basic of that legal framework, I must say, because biomedical waste, we have so many categorization. It's all available in the website that we have categorization of the entire biomedical waste. It is being categorized based on this some color coding system. So some part of this biomedical waste is highly infectious and which needs to be disposed of within the span of 48 hours. I mean, disposal with the name of disposal, I meant like it will generate, it will store, it will segregate, it will transport to the defined destination, and it will treat, and then it will get disposed. So within a span of 48 hours, it should be disposed of. Whereas on the other hand, we have some part of biomedical waste which can create value. We have plastic biomedical waste, for example, syringe, IV bottles, catheters. These are all made of polypropylene plastic, which can be easily recycled. But again, we have to do sterilization. We have to make that particular waste disinfected so that it will not create any harm to the public, to our environment also. And after that, it is as good as a solid waste. And after the process of sterilization, make it shred that it cannot be reused as it was in the original form.
Correct.
And then we can recycle the plastic. So that
Yes.
manner we can have less plastic with us.
Correct. We'll be taking a short break here. When we come back, we'll talk more on biomedical waste. Stay tuned.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Welcome back to our program Biomedical Waste. We are discussing biomedical waste management in India. My question to you, Sukriti, I would like you to throw some light on the rules and regulations regarding waste management in India.
So as my fellow panelists mentioned that, the government has been focused on it since 1998. But in 2016, we saw, a resurgence of focus under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister when he launched the Clean Mission, basically the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. And it was with that thought that the 2016 guidelines and regulations were issued. It actually focused on some very critical things, which is how are you going to mark your boxes for waste storage, or what are you going to do with the plastics that you end up using. Some other things I want to bring up is if there is a major accident related to biomedical hazard, it has to be reported and dealt with immediately. Or talking about the fact that it doesn't matter what part of healthcare we work on, whether it's vaccination or blood donation, we must ensure that everything is safe and taken care of once the camps are done. Also talking about, there is a lack of training and we need to focus on that. We need to bring in more awareness campaigns. So in a way, really the leadership of the government has really shown through this guideline. I would like to add that like with every law in the country, its implementation becomes very important. But as a society, we need to remember that government is made of people like us. We are the ones who elected them. They cannot do this on their own. And unless there is us coming together with them, and when we talk about household waste or we talk about medical waste, or I'm going to touch upon, because we are in the middle of this pandemic, on the issue of just dealing with the gloves and the masks and the PPEs, we have noticed that even at cremation grounds, we have seen that there are tons of PPE that are left behind once we cremate our loved ones. It's already a tough situation. But how are we going to deal with that situation becomes important. So having a law is wonderful, but whoever does not follow that should be equally fined and regulated.
Absolutely. And Yutika, next question to you is, how do we improve this process of waste segregation?
See, since beginning, we are doing a lot of training, awareness programs, and we are asking the state governments. They are conducting training program for the class 4 employees also. The class 4 employees who are working in the hospitals, who are really involved in the handling of such waste. For example, transporting the waste from the ward to the storage area. So he will have to understand the process. He will have to understand how will he collect, how will he transfer the waste from the bins to his trolley, and what kind of trolley he should use, what precautions he should take for his own benefit also. So this kind of training is very much required, and government is keep on doing such kind of programs also. Let me share last to last year, CPCB in collaboration with NPC also, we planned a very big training program for around 57 cities for the stakeholders, for the government employees, for the ULBs, because ULBs are also a municipal bodies and local panchayats at the village level. They are also involved in the management of the biomedical waste. So how do we improve segregation is the only way. If you know about the subject, if you know what needs to be done, it is a very simplified process. Our rules explain this entire concept of segregation in a very simplified manner. And after the rules, not only the rules, CPCB proactively keep on releasing some guidelines, which gives guidance which a layman can relate to. So we always try to give a simplified guidance which people could understand, and they will simply follow the process which is required at most. And if I share you another example for this COVID waste management, India is one of the few countries which we have our own guidelines for COVID waste management, which talks about, and it is not separate. It is not different from the existing legal framework, but still we have to take some precautions for its storage, for its transportation, etc. So we issued this guideline in early March, in fact middle of March, and with the time based on the requirement, because every day we have the new requirement. So we keep on revising the guidelines. So far we have 3 revisions of those guidelines, and I'm sure, in fact I'm not sure what situation we'll have tomorrow, and again I'll have to sit on my laptop to
You've been working nights during the COVID
thanks. This is
time,
required. This is required for the nation.
I'm so happy to have you here with us. So Sukriti, my next question to you: what are the main problems that we face in proper biomedical waste segregation?
So there are a set of things, and I'm going to just touch upon the main ones. One is that, of course, we've been talking about it, the problem of segregation. How do you separate hazardous from non-hazardous? And in many cases, we'll see medical waste coming together with non-medical waste, which in itself is a huge issue that we face. And these are issues which I know are being addressed, are being discussed, are being taken seriously. And I do see change coming in the near future. The second point I want to touch upon is, the locations of the fields, where the centers are for us to take the waste. I don't think there are enough of them. And I'm not sure if this is a sudden change that can come about, but it is definitely something that we need to look into. The third is reuse, which we've just touched upon, but you'll be shocked to know that it's $1 billion market. The reuse of plastic syringes, the reuse of plastic material. In Delhi itself, it's a 15 million Indian rupee market, the reuse. You can only imagine the people who are collecting it, what they are facing and what they are going through. The fourth point that I want to touch upon is, hospitals don't necessarily keep funds aside for waste management, and I think that is a priority. It needs to happen, and linked to this, I think from the government, from the center, then there needs to be a little more funding, a little more attention towards waste management, which I think will go a long way as we proceed. I touched upon training in my last question. I continue to say that I do know that training happens. I think it needs to increase in number for medical staff involved, not only the municipal municipal corporation, I don't think they get their due. I think it's time we give them their due. It's been really difficult for them in the last 4 months. But along with that, I also want to give a big shout out, of course, to the doctors. My sister is a doctor and she's on the front lines. My family has many doctors and it's been a difficult time. So a big shout out to them, but the biggest shout out to the people who come and collect our waste. Not a single day has gone by when that did not happen. And it's sad when we don't pay them. If there is anybody out there, my message is that please take care of them because they have taken care of you in very difficult circumstances. Please segregate the waste at home between dry and wet. It requires a little bit effort, but it will go a long way in helping that person who's coming to your house with that little trolley to safeguard that person. But I think these are the broad contours of issues that we need to deal with.
I think that was a very thoughtful thing to say that you just mentioned. A big shout out to all the doctors, to all the people working in the municipalities, and also to all those people who come and collect the waste from our houses. Wonderful thought that. And on that note, we'll be taking a short break. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll talk more about biomedical waste.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Welcome back. You're watching India Science and we are talking about biomedical waste. So Yutika, my question to you now, what are the medical waste treatment, technology treatment, and how do you look at that?
So as I said earlier, there is a categorization which is available with us. So as per the categorization, we have separate a set of treatment technologies available. So for example, as I said earlier also that some part of biomedical waste is highly infectious and which needs to be destruct completely. So for those kind of waste, we have treatment technology which is called incineration. It's a complete destruction of waste. It's like a controlled scientific burning of waste. It's not just, it is not like any other burning of waste we used to see.
But is it safe when you say you burn it?
It is safe. It happens in a closed chamber and with the controlled parameters, with the controlled amount of air, fuel, and yes, when the waste will get burned, we'll have some kind of emissions out of that. But these incinerators are very highly advanced, based on very highly advanced technologies. So after this burning process, we have some devices called as air pollution control devices. So with the help of those devices, we control those emissions. And what we get finally from the from the exit of that stack, which we see generally when we go to some industry, or we generally see a stack, a chimney kind of thing. So we see some emissions are coming out. So those are only the fumes, but with the less harmful emissions. We have a list of some parameters which are likely to be emit when we burn this biomedical waste.
Correct.
With the controlled environment also. But we have, at the same time, we have some standards. And these facility operators, they need to comply with those standards, and government is very strict on that note. And like CPCB has initiated now to have a criteria of imposition of environmental compensation on them against the defaulting facilities, because this is a fact that if they are running their facility, they are collecting waste from the hospital, so they are charging them. So but we are saying it is not only a business option for them, but you have to take care of the environment also at the same
and
time.
comply with all the laws.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely,
It's the basic
yes.
requirement.
So, Kriti, here I want to ask you why waste is so important and its segregation, especially in COVID times. How do you look at this?
So I just want to start by saying that, we are in this studio after 4 months, as you have said. So the pandemic has really shaken the world. And when it happened in India, when we went into a lockdown, I don't think anybody was prepared. But I do know that the municipal corporation, the regulatory bodies had to be very quick on their feet. And my panelist here with me, as you rightly said, has been working literally 24 hours
on.
since the start of the pandemic here and the lockdown, and it's hard work. But I do think that they have managed to take a step forward, think differently. Now, when we go into the second phase of this, they will have to think of how they want to do things differently and more efficiently, which I believe that they have the best brains in the business, and that will come to us. I want to also touch upon the fact that when I started, my first comment was that nothing happens alone with regulatory bodies and the government. I think each of us have a role to play, because in the COVID situation, household waste management has also become extremely crucial. When a glass breaks, are we just going to put it in a plastic bag and leave it for somebody to be cut by it, because you may have an infection and it may pass on to them?
Or even some animal.
Or an animal, or the environment more broadly. And infections like hepatitis C, for example, we have to be extremely careful. The third point here that I want to bring about is just the hospitals, the sheer load of what they are dealing with, whether that's waste in human tissue, or it's waste in gloves, or it's waste in masks. There is a lot of waste. India has trillions of waste not being discarded properly. And I think COVID has just shown us something that we had not seen previously. So it becomes doubly important for us to work, as stakeholders together to address this issue, because there is no way that we cannot afford to have waste management. It will lead to a worsening of the situation with coronavirus, which we absolutely need to avoid.
And in these pandemic times, we really need to take heed of what you said.
Yes.
Yuthika, I would like to ask you to explain to the layman, what is PPE?
So PPE is a kind of equipment which protects a human being of getting any kind of virus, bacteria. Examples of PPE, of course, we are wearing mask, we are wearing gloves. A part of this, these are two common terminologies which is being used by every single person. But a part of these, we have face shields, we have hazmat suits, which are being used by the doctors in the hospitals, and these are very required by wearing by the doctors, by the nurses, and it is I would say it is just only knowing about what is PPE would be incomplete, because at the same time, now in this time we need to know about the second part also. If we are wearing PPE, then after the use, what will we use? How do we throw? Where will I throw my used mask? In which, if I am wearing in my office, so should I discard over there? Should I take it back to my home? And if I am taking bags, then what should I do with that? So these are the things, and as I'm repeatedly using the name of my organization, because we had actually. We are having one committee of expert panels with me, in which I have doctors, I have experts, so in which we really discuss upon these things, what is required, what is currently going on, what is required, and we have came up with the clauses which talks about the disposal of such things by any human being, by every next person.
So if we talk about the cost a little later, but before that, Sukriti, challenges in waste management in India, how do we counter those vis-a-vis internationally? If you could give us some few examples.
So I think, like in every situation, there are best practices we can learn from. I know that there are states that do very well in waste management in India. It's not that we don't do well. I think we can do better. But some of the examples that I'd like to share is one is France, that I want to begin with, where there's actually a law to stop wastage of food. and they've brought it in. They are implementing it. It's going pretty well for them. Germany has the best recycling rate in the world. So there are ways that we need to learn from them. Sweden comes very close second. There's also something called the EcoBot in Colombia, which is very, very interesting because it basically encourages and incentivizes people to come up with ways to recycle. So it's not like you came up with this really innovative way to recycle. The government is going to give you the money and encourage you to take that forward in your community. There are some more examples I'd like to share. In Indonesia, they have a policy which they've come up with where if you actually recycle and you show that you've recycled, you get free healthcare. So there are things like that that we can learn from.
Incentives and
Something that is very interesting is that Uganda uses its waste to build amusement parks. So when the kids go and play, so there are ways to learn from best practices, and I think just we have to remember the size of India. We have to remember the population challenges we have. So while we learn and we innovate, I am very confident we have the best brains, we have the best scientists, we have the best regulatory bodies, we have a very strong government command in place right now. So I think just coming together, collaborating and dealing with it.
absolutely, and we'll see India on the rise, as you said. So we're completely out of time now, and I'd like to end by thanking both of you and also by telling our viewers that an initiative from corporations and hospitals is essential to creating a healthier environment. By creating surveillance groups within hospitals, everyone would be held accountable for misconduct and improper disposal of waste. Voluntary cleanups would involve hospital staff in assuring that medical waste is not littered around in the hospital or thrown into regular garbage bins. We therefore need an evolving policy and protocols by healthcare institutions and concerned institutions from the government to manage these hazardous waste effectively. On this note, many thanks for joining us, both of you. I'd like to thank you first. Thank you so much for joining us. And many thanks to all our viewers for watching India Science. Keep watching India Science. Namaskar.